Okay, hi. I'm Gidon Ariel. Welcome to one of the most beautiful, special places in Israel. I could probably use that introduction anywhere I talk in Israel. But we are in the Bik'ah, in the Jordan Valley, and we are right now specifically in Mifgash HaBik'ah, the get-together spot of the Jordan. It's somewhat, pretty much in the middle of the Jordan Valley, which we're going to see on this map over here, which is so conveniently located here. Around here is Jerusalem. This map is set. North is that direction, south is that direction, and up is east. Usually maps are the top is the north, but it makes much more sense to spread it out like this. And this is also what we see behind the map. This is Road 90, which goes from south to north. And just behind this map is Route 90. So yeah, I think this actually is the Route 90 is just behind here. And this is the Jordan River of biblical fame. This word over here is Yarden, which means it's the kingdom of Jordan, the state, the government, the country Jordan. Just wanted to point out over here, this is pointing north. This would be the letter N for north, but actually it's the letter Tzadi for Tzafon, to show that the north, the Tzafon, is in that direction. Anyway, let's get back here. So we are now standing over here, and we came from Jerusalem, which is about over here on this map. This is a tiny bit of Ma'ale Adumim for people who are familiar, which is just to the east of Jerusalem, a little bit northeast of Jerusalem. And then this road is, as you can see, a somewhat parallel road to 90. So this is also a road that you can go north with. And then, of course, there are other roads that you can't see on this map. I love maps. Sorry if I'm boring you a little bit. This shows a couple of the Jewish communities, the modern Jewish communities of the Bik'ah, of the Jordan Valley. The most important city, the most important residential area that is portrayed on this map is obviously Jericho. It's the biggest letters that you can see on the map. It is definitely a city. But of course it is an all Palestinian city, except for these few Jewish places of interest within the city limits of Jericho. Specifically two ancient synagogues. The ancient synagogue of Peace Upon Israel. That's the name of the synagogue because there was a beautiful ancient mosaic found, a mosaic floor that said Peace Upon Israel in Hebrew there in the city of Jericho. And here is another ancient synagogue, ruins of an ancient synagogue called Na'aran. There is a Jewish community called Na'aran not far from there, over here, which we passed on our way in. So there, I could talk about many, many things on this map. I just wanted to point out, like I said, that this is the entire Bik'ah, the entire Jordan Valley, from Vered Yericho, which means Rose of Jericho, which just overlooks the city of Jericho. Of course, Mitzpeh Yericho, which is a little bit further north and west of the Jordan Valley. Mitzpeh Yericho means overlooking Jericho. And it's very hard to tell on this flat map, this two-dimensional map, but anybody who has been to Mitzpeh Yericho knows that it's on the top of a hill overlooking Jericho, which is in a valley. It's a fascinating, as I pointed out to Bob on our way here, it's a fascinating physical phenomenon that I came from Gush Etzion, south of Jerusalem today, where the highest point is almost a kilometer above sea level. On our way down here, and Jerusalem itself is about 800 meters above sea level, almost a kilometer above sea level. And here we are passing sea level. This little thingy over here indicates sea level, and we're all the way down here near the Dead Sea. We're talking about minus 400 meters. 400 meters under sea level. So between Jerusalem and here, which is about a 20-minute ride, it's a dive of about 1.5 kilometers almost. Really fascinating. So even though Mitzpeh Yericho is almost at zero almost at 0 meters or feet above or below sea level. It's a little bit above sea level. It's way above Jericho, which is about 200-300 meters below sea level. So if anybody has ever had the good fortune of being a guest at a wedding, at the wedding hall in Mitzpeh Yericho, the beautiful view of the Jericho Valley, including the city of Jericho with all of its lights, is just a sight to behold. In this area is what's called Kasser El Yahud. It says it over here in yellow, which means the castle of the Jews. It is holy to Christians because, according to some traditions, it's where Jesus was baptized, and conveniently enough, it is also should be holy to Jews. It's politically, it wasn't that lucky, but it is the traditional place where the Jewish people entered the land of Israel when they came from the Exodus of Egypt. We have another video. Root Source has another video about that when we went there last year, on the day that the Jewish people moved, when they transferred from Egypt straight into the land of Israel with Joshua, as is described in one of the early chapters of the book of Joshua. So like I said, we drove on this road. It didn't seem so loud when we were driving. And now we are at the get-together point of the Jordan Valley. As you can see, it's about halfway on the road, and we are on our way further up towards a place called Argaman, where we are going to do our next video. That is the little map that I told a tiny bit about. I'd like to point out some of the beautiful hills that I mentioned over here. It's now about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so but strangely the sun is not doesn't seem to be in the west yet. I guess it's in the west, and that's really more towards the south, but mostly in the west. That you can see over here, these beautiful mountains. You get the idea of the great drop that we have from the Judean desert and the Judean mountains and the Jordan Valley. Over there you can see even higher mountains. You can even see Mitzpeh Yericho that I mentioned. If you can see it on the horizon, a little bit towards the edge of the distant hills that we can see. You might be able to see little tiny bits of houses. That is the Jewish community of Mitzpeh Yericho. Just behind this gas station over here is what's called Andartat Habika. It is a memorial to 54 Israeli soldiers who were killed, I believe, in all of the different activities, all of the different military activities that were here between 1967 and today. Baruch Hashem, thank God, not too many people are being killed here today. I'd like to come, please follow me as we go to another interesting point. We're going to try to make this very quickly. This is what I call the sandbox. It's a three-dimensional model of the Jordan Valley. There you see in the south, once again, this is north, this is south. In the south you see the top, the northern side of the Dead Sea, with the Jordan River squiggling its way northward. And at the top you can see just another little pocket over there, that is the bottom of the Kinneret, of the Sea of the Galilee. And in between, you see these little Lego pieces, which are Jewish communities, or they represent Jewish communities. But the most important thing to talk about here is how on this side you have the cliffs of the Israeli side, and on that side you have the cliffs of the Jordanian side, the Jordan, the state of Jordan, which is why any Israeli military officer will be happy to bring you here to show how this must be the security border of the state of Israel, because it is impossible to pass from there to here with tanks without being stopped by the Jordan Valley. If the border would be around over here or over there, which would be the other side of the West Bank. This, by the way, we are totally in the West Bank over there. The West Bank goes basically from the Sea of the Galilee, a little bit further south from the Sea of the Galilee, and makes like a backwards B shape. That's not exactly where it goes. It goes much further down. But if the this cliff keeps on going up till it gets to the top of the West Bank, and then it starts going down again until it gets to Tel Aviv. So if you would put the border on the other side of the West Bank, then the tanks could just mosey up all the way, and they would be positioned here all the time. And whenever some Arab leader would get up on the wrong side of the bed, he would just start shooting and start rolling his tanks into Tel Aviv. So that's why I simplified it, but not by much, which is why to summarize, any person who cares at all about Israel's security recognizes the imperative of having Israeli soldiers on this side of the Jordan Valley. Thank you from Root Source, Gidon Ariel.